me. Hey,
Ooh.
it is Smackin It with Dave. Welcome to the Smackdown post show, Smackin It with Dave. I'm Dave.
I'm Benjamin.
We are the Simon Brothers.
That's right.
What's up, y'all? We're back here on the YouTube channel. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, do all the things. Where's my... Here we go. Waboom! Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you, thank you. We're here to talk about SmackDown, the first draft portion of SmackDown, the first leg of this WWE 2019 draft to start their new programming, new contract with USA Network for Raw, new contract for SmackDown with Fox. And we just watched SmackDown on Fox, and we have a lot of draft picks, mostly people staying where they were. Not a lot of people moving around. Nothing shocking tonight. And let's start it off. This episode of SmackDown, the second episode of SmackDown on Fox, I'm giving 3 smacks out of 10. 3 smacks.
Woo!
It was not a good show.
Yeah, I think I'll match you with 3 smacks there, brother.
3 smacks. This is the show where we hit each other. It's Smackin It. People get hit on this show. It happens all the time.
That was unwarranted.
It happens. You're my brother. I hit you. So, we assault each other on the show. We talk about SmackDown. This episode of SmackDown, not as good as last week. Last week, we gave SmackDown 8 smacks. This week, we're giving it 3. This was not the same as last week. Last week, we saw Tyson Fury make his debut, Cain Velasquez make his debut, shocking debut. We saw Brock Lesnar become WWE champion. This week, we saw some draft picks and Bayley becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion, beating Charlotte Flair. Bayley showed up with a new haircut. She's got shorter hair, no longer sporting that ponytail. She smashed her Bayley buddies. She had this big weapon of some sort. I don't know what you call that thing.
Some kind of garden tool.
Some kind of garden tool. Anyways, she blew up her, she popped those Bayley buddies, and then she went on to beat Charlotte Flair clean in the middle of the ring, reversing the figure 8. She took the natural selection, and then Charlotte went to apply her figure 8 submission, and Bayley reversed it into a roll-up, 1, 2, 3. Bayley beat Charlotte. Bayley is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. New music hits for Bayley, and then she goes with a microphone in the middle of the ring, says, "Hey, bitches, screw all of you." And that was just evil Bayley completing her heel turn tonight. That was the big story tonight on SmackDown. Bayley beats Charlotte Flair, becomes the new SmackDown Women's Champion. She's got new music. She's got a new look, new hair, new ring attire. It's new Bayley, and she's calling you a bitch.
I know. It's a new attitude for Bayley. I enjoyed it. I like that she came out because they took a lot of time to show this character change, her coming out like it's normal with her normal music, and then you notice her haircut, and then you see her destroy her Bayley buddies. I was kind of hoping that she would win the match, because I don't like when someone gets super huge character build up only for them to lose the match. I feel then that kind of deflates it all, so to speak.
Yeah.
But she won.
It's
so
good.
That was good booking.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Gable we saw tonight, he has a new name. He's now Shorty Gable, and that hasn't really done him any favors. Chad Gable, lost to King Corbin tonight, another one of those matches. If you haven't seen the new look for Bayley, let's see if I can show it to you here. Hey, it's Bayley. That's her new hair, and that's what she looks like now. So there's Bayley tonight becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And look at that, new features on the Ringside Report network on Smackin It. We've got pictures.
Yeah, just raising that production value,
Boom, boom, boom.
Always keep it going. But you made a good observation. She does look a lot more now with her haircut like NXT's Dakota Kai, who's also made her return to NXT. So maybe some kind of possible team up in some future event, perhaps. But they also have kind of similar characters, but no, not as much anymore. Dakota Kai is kind of like the new sort of Bayley babyface in NXT.
I guess.
So, just new gimmick change. I don't know. It's just something you observed. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with Dakota Kai, though. I think they just look similar. They just have a similar haircut, and they have a similar look.
And gimmick.
Yeah. But I don't think this really has anything to do with Dakota Kai or, Bayley trying to steal her look or anything. It is interesting that she returns the same time that Bayley shows up with this new hair. As we're seeing video there of Bayley smashing her Bayley buddies tonight on SmackDown. I think I can show that on the show. I don't know.
Oh, let's hope so.
That was cool. Dakota Kai had her match on NXT this week, losing to Bianca Belair, EST. I love Bianca Belair. I'm a big fan. I think she's fantastic. But yeah, I like Bayley's new look.
Yeah, me too.
I thought she looked cool.
I'm glad she won. I'm glad she won with the possum finish, too. You don't see that often, possum finishes.
Yeah.
I like that. She took the move, and, the camera was set up for her to take the natural selection. She was on her knees kind of being like, it was 3, ref. And then, it was like, here it comes. Here comes Charlotte's big finish. And then, no, Bayley with the quick roll-up, creative finish. I wonder who was the agent on that match.
I like the finish. I like that Bayley debuted a new look, and she actually won. I think that was a good point that you made. They completed the turn. They completed the move. It's like a big night for Bayley. Bayley, new hair, new gimmick, new music, new everything, and she's champion once again. She beat Charlotte Flair. Big night for Bayley.
And I want to say Sasha Banks has been drafted to SmackDown.
Yes.
So she's got a teammate on her side.
Let's get to some of these draft results. Becky Lynch staying on Raw, the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. Roman Reigns staying on SmackDown. And that was kind of a downer about this show tonight. Like, Stephanie McMahon comes out, makes the announcements, and the first 2 announcements that she makes is just like, Becky Lynch is staying on Raw. Okay?
Yay.
Nothing changes. Nothing really big there. And then the next announcement she makes is Roman Reigns is staying on SmackDown.
Yay.
Yeah, it's like no one cares. And then she goes, the OC, they're staying on Raw.
All right. Okay.
Even though they wrestled on SmackDown tonight.
Doesn't matter.
Does it not matter yet? I guess the wild card rule is still in effect until the draft is complete on Raw.
They really didn't make the rules of this draft clear at all. I had no idea what was going on.
Like, did that make any sense to you? The OC gets drafted to Raw. They're on Raw already. They stay on Raw in the draft. And then they wrestled a match with the New Day that they wound up losing. Kofi Kingston hitting Trouble in Paradise on AJ Styles. It was Kofi, Big E, and Xavier, the New Day, taking on the OC, Anderson, Gallows, and AJ Styles. And Kofi getting the win over Styles. Nice to see Kofi actually get a victory, trying to keep him strong at least after the 5-second loss of his WWE Championship that he's held for most of 2019. Goes from April till October as WWE Champion, loses to Brock Lesnar last week in 5 seconds. At least this week, Kofi, back on the winning track, hits his Trouble in Paradise. But just seeing him with the New Day again in a 6-man tag, it kind of felt like, oh, that's what Kofi's doing again. Even though he got the win, he beat AJ Styles, it still feels like a demotion for Kofi Kingston, right?
Do you ever think Kofi's going to bring this up again, like after Crown Jewel? Do you think Kofi Kingston's going to cut a promo and say, Brock Lesnar, I want a rematch, I'm calling you out? Or he just wiped from his memory, like he just moves on and feuds with the Usos again?
Who knows, man? What does the WWE have in store? I have no idea.
Don't know.
Cain Velasquez has signed a long-term deal with the WWE, and he's no longer fighting in the UFC. So maybe Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar is a feud that's going to last for several months. We know that they're going to wrestle at Crown Jewel. Who knows if that's going to be their last one? Probably not, right?
I suppose, but I figure it'd be
where does Kofi
down
fit
the
in
line,
there?
But you never know. Yeah, it'd be kind of sad if Kofi Kingston kind of continues forward, just never mentioning again that he was the champion and he lost it like that.
That's it.
And I think the audience will remember that, and it'll look badly upon Kofi.
So Becky Lynch staying on Raw, Roman going to SmackDown, the OC staying on Raw, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, going to SmackDown, which was the first kind of big move of the draft. Drew McIntyre staying on Raw, and people are like, where's Drew McIntyre been? Randy Orton going from SmackDown to Raw. That was a pretty big move. Big move for Raw, getting Randall.
Randy gets Raw.
Sasha Banks going from Raw to SmackDown, which is interesting because her buddy Bayley just became the champion.
And they're both heels, so...
How does that work? Ricochet remaining on Raw. Braun Strowman going from Raw to SmackDown.
That was a big one.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Stacking up SmackDown.
Yeah, they are trying to make SmackDown... the A show. They got Brock there. They got Braun.
Roman.
The Tyson Fury, Cain Velasquez stuff is probably going to happen on SmackDown, So they're putting a lot of big things on SmackDown. Roman Reigns, like you mentioned. But Raw has Becky Lynch. Raw has AJ Styles. Raw has Randy Orton. Raw has Bobby Lashley, who remains on Raw. Alexa Bliss staying on Raw. Lacey Evans going to SmackDown. That's kind of a something. Kevin Owens going from SmackDown to Raw. That's a pretty big move.
Interesting, yeah, especially after all the Shane McMahon drama.
Yeah.
Now Kevin Owens is leaving SmackDown.
Fresh start for KO. The Revival going to SmackDown. I'm seeing a comment here from Paul M. Why were the SmackDown Tag Team Champs drafted to SmackDown? Shouldn't the Revival be on SmackDown by default? Well, they're drafting everybody. Like, Becky Lynch is the Raw Women's Champion. She's already on Raw, but she was the first draft pick. And all they did was announce that she was remaining on Raw. So if you're the champion or not, you're eligible for this draft. And technically, the Revival were on Raw. They were Raw superstars,
I suppose,
even though they won the SmackDown Tag Team titles, right?
So this clarifies things a bit.
Yeah, this makes things make a little bit more sense. And I would assume that either Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are going to remain on Raw as the Raw Tag Team Champions, or they're going to be moved on SmackDown, or one of them will be moved to SmackDown because the Viking Raiders are challenging for those tag team titles on Raw on Monday. So I could see the Viking Raiders winning the tag titles and then staying on Raw, and then they maybe move Roode or Ziggler or both to SmackDown.
That seems like a highly plausible outcome.
I think that's probably what they're doing. So the Revival, SmackDown Tag Champs, going to SmackDown officially. Natalya, Natty Neidhart staying on Raw. See Natty's match on Raw this week with Lacey Evans?
No, I missed it.
Man, she powerbombed Lacey Evans off the stage through a table to win the last woman standing match.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. People aren't watching this stuff, and I got to remind you. Like, I got to tell you. I got to be like, hey, man, you see this? It was crazy. It was a good match.
My satellite was a bit on the fritz, so I missed it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why you got to listen to Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network on the YouTube channel. Watch the show tomorrow when it's up. We recap Raw and everything good and bad that happened on the show. The Viking Raiders, they stay on Raw. Lucha House Party going from Raw to SmackDown. Nikki Cross will remain on Raw. Heavy Machinery going over to SmackDown. I think they were kind of free agents, right?
I think so, yeah. When they came up with the
NXT
Superstar
thing,
shakeup, yeah, they were like
I don't think they've
brands.
ever been designated a brand.
Yeah, no one ever bothered to.
So they're officially on SmackDown now. And the Street Profits are going to Monday Night Raw.
They were also sort of free agents.
Yeah, they were kind of NXT guys, right? But now they're officially on Raw.
That's right. Former NXT Tag Team Champions.
Not bad. Checking some of the comments here. Andy Burrows, our main man out in London, England, says, morning, guys. Morning to you, Andy.
Top of the morning.
Man, it must be quite early out in England, right? What are they, 5-6 hours ahead?
6, I believe.
6 hours ahead? So it's like 4 in the morning out there. Morning to you, my man Andy, a Day One Wrestling Uncensored listener. Must be crazy for Andy, right? Like, Andy's been watching the show since day one. He's been listening to the show since day one. I mean, Andy's been with Wrestling Uncensored and the Universe since before we had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know? And now he sees the show and he sees all the progress and everything going on, all the shows that we're doing, Smackin It, Dave and Johnny Live. We had a mock draft, myself and Johnny North, with all sorts of new technology that we're using here on the show.
Yeah, an episode of What's Fandom in Japan just uploaded.
What's Fandom in Japan dropped this week. New episode of Ringside Report, of course, with the boys, AJ and Freddie.
Had a Hell in a Cell wrap-up show on Sunday.
Yeah, we did that Hell in a Cell show last week. That was a lot of fun. Let's take a look at the website, what we got going. What's Phantom in Japan, Ringside Report. There's this show, Smackin It with Dave, that's currently on. There's Dave and Johnny Live, the Mock Draft Spectacular.
Love that picture.
And there's the latest episode of Ringside Report. Is Israel Adesanya the next Conor McGregor? We talked about that and a whole lot more MMA stuff. Joanna Jędrzejczyk is fighting Michelle Waterson.
Is that happening?
Yeah, it's official. Joanna made weight today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on.
So I heard Waterson didn't want to wrestle or fight at catch weight, and there was a bit of a...
Yeah, there was a bit of a deal, but it all turned out all right. Joanna made weight.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all good then.
So, biggest move in the draft? What do you think was the biggest thing that happened tonight? Other than Bayley, right? Like, it was Bayley's show.
Other than Bayley, I want to say Braun Strowman moving to SmackDown feels like it could be a big deal. Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar on there. Braun Strowman, Cain.
Bray Wyatt going to SmackDown, I think, is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, they're really stacking SmackDown, you know.
That was a really...
There's room for everybody.
That was kind of a silly thing on SmackDown this week. Starting the show with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. They wrestle for a while. And then The Fiend bursts through the ring to attack Seth Rollins, drag him to hell, drags him into the ring, and then the lights come back on, and Seth just kind of crawls out of the hole. And then The Fiend reappears, and then the lights go back off, and then The Fiend reappears on the stage.
Ooh.
It's like he keeps moving around, and is like, oh, okay. But Roman Reigns totally disappeared.
Yeah, he was,
like, to me, that's the most mysterious part of this whole thing.
Where did he go?
Who cares about The Fiend? The lights go out. Roman Reigns is gone. I thought Roman Reigns got dragged under the ring. We had to rewind and go back and be like, wait, Roman didn't get attacked there? Just Seth? So where'd Roman go? What happened to Roman? And then the stipulation on this match was the winner gets the first pick for their brand. So Seth was representing Raw, Roman was representing SmackDown. Whoever wins that match gets the first pick for their brand. But that match kind of ended in a no contest.
Classic Fiend finish.
I suppose it ended in a disqualification because Stephanie McMahon comes out to do the draft picks. She just announces who's going where, and the first person she announces was Becky Lynch, going to Raw.
So you imagine it was a DQ finish.
So you imagine it was a disqualification finish. Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns by disqualification due to interference by The Fiend. So Raw won the first pick, I guess, by DQ. But no one ever announced what the finish was to the Roman-Seth match. No one announced a winner. No one said anything other than, oh my God, The Fiend is so scary. Like, what's going on here? Oh my goodness.
I know, and like, they made it just so unclear. You know, they don't need to lead us by the hand, but sometimes it would help to just specify things a bit. I mean, who is going to tell that boardroom full of Fox and USA Network executives what's going on? You know? They want to know who they're drafting. They want to know who goes first.
Yeah.
What was up with that? That was terrible.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And Troy Aikman wants to know what's going on. And Terry Bradshaw and all the Fox NFL crew, they want to know what's going on. So
well, Paul
it would help
M,
if they specified things a bit.
Paul M there, if you see, he's saying that Michael Cole mentioned Seth won by disqualification. So that...
who's listening to Michael Cole?
I don't know. We got our chat working now. How about that?
Thank you for that.
There you go. Everything's working. Is everything working? We
like
got
those SmackDown letters over there.
We got SmackDown style images. We got the chat working. We got images going, you know. Everything is working.
Production value, baby.
Production value. Everything's working on all cylinders. Unfortunately, SmackDown was a 3-smack show. So what was our WWE Smackdown Dave's what's this show?
Smack of the week.
What's this show called? Smackin It with Dave, the Smackin It Smack of the Night.
Smack of the night.
I think it was when Terry Bradshaw said his favorite wrestler was Dusty Rhodes.
That was pretty good.
I almost pissed myself laughing. It's like they were doing these things all night, which also was one of the reasons why SmackDown was so terrible tonight. They kept showing you Fox Sports announcers, like their
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
What was up with that?
Did a thing where they talked about how Troy Aikman played for the Dallas Cowboys
and likes pile drivers.
and then they're like, yeah, Troy Aikman, what's your favorite wrestling movie? He's like, I like The Pile Driver. And it's like, why are Troy Aikman and Joe Buck talking on SmackDown right now about how much Troy Aikman loves the Dallas Cowboys and pile drivers? But it didn't end there. It wasn't like one of those segments. Several of them happened. The Fox NFL team was there. They're talking about Terry Bradshaw and
Howie Long
and
other guys. Tony Gonzalez.
Was Michael Strahan there?
I think so.
I don't know. There's a lot of football guys, and they were all talking about, their favorite wrestlers, and they all talked about, Dusty Rhodes and
Andre the Giant,
Ric Flair, Bruno Sammartino.
Nobody within the last 30 years.
Yeah, most of their favorite wrestlers are dead, but I just love that Terry Bradshaw, the first guy he mentions is, oh, Dusty Rhodes, and I'm like, yeah, I wonder what his kids are doing these days. Like, what are they up to? Oh, man, AEW was good this week.
That's right. The Inner Circle.
Inner Circle for life, brother.
A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly. Man, Chris Jericho's the best. That promo was better than anything on SmackDown this week.
Very good promo. I love
that
his jacket, too.
That promo was better than anything in wrestling in the past month. Like, that was amazing.
It's classic Jericho, too.
Oh, I love Chris Jericho. I love the Inner Circle.
It's a good group.
Cain Velasquez did a good little promo in Spanish, cabron. That was pretty good. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar do an in-ring promo on SmackDown this week. It wasn't bad.
It was fine.
Brock sold it really well.
They were honest about it, saying, yeah, Cain kicked Brock's ass.
That's right. Heyman says, most men...
beating around the bush about it.
When most men are afraid, when most men have fears, they quiver and they shake and they shy away from their fears, but not Brock Lesnar. You see, Cain Velasquez, he victimized and conquered Brock Lesnar when they fought. He TKO'd him, and it was unheard of that Brock would be beaten so viciously and taken of his UFC heavyweight championship. And Heyman says at Crown Jewel, Brock Lesnar will conquer his fears, and he will conquer and victimize Cain Velasquez. And he starts to say that that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. But here come Rey Mysterio and Cain Velasquez. They interrupt. They're on the stage, and they show photos from UFC 121 back in October of 2010 when Cain demolished Brock Lesnar in under 5 minutes. And Cain says he's going to beat Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel and give him a matching scar on the other side of his face to match the one that Brock sports on the left side of his cheek. Brock Lesnar a scar that Cain Velasquez gave him. Cain changed the way Brock looks 9 years ago, and they're going to do battle once again in Saudi Arabia. I'm excited for this match.
Me too.
I like that Cain cut the promo in Spanish. It felt more badass, more rough, more authentic, more like it came from Cain's heart, like it was really Cain angry. Cain expresses himself maybe better in Spanish than he does in English, even though he speaks, perfect English. But I think there's something about when Cain Velasquez speaks in Spanish, you really get the point across, and I loved it. And I understood what he said, too, which was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
You were like, what did he say? And I told you what he said. I told you what Cain said, and then Rey Mysterio translated and told you what Cain said, which I really enjoyed. I was like, ooh, look at me. My translation's dead on. I speak Spanish. Look at me. I understand Spanish. Were you impressed with my Spanish comprehension?
I was highly impressed.
Hey, I speak English, French, and Spanish.
Trilingual.
Que pasa? You know what I'm saying?
I maybe try many things, but lingual isn't one of them.
Hey. Classic. So I liked that promo, and I liked how Cain spoke Spanish, and I like how Brock sold the fear of Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell in Brock's face, he's scared. He's intimidated by Cain Velasquez. Cain has him shook, and he really expresses that in his face. I don't think it's real. I don't think Brock's really intimidated or scared of Cain Velasquez.
Maybe a little bit.
I mean, he knows that he'd lose to him in a fight, but I don't think he's as intimidated as he was showing. But it wasn't over the top. But the way he was looking at Cain Velasquez, the fear in his eyes, it showed Brock Lesnar's really got some ability there to show the fear and show that, oh man, this guy's got my number and I got to deal with him now.
Yeah, he took that from a real place.
Yeah.
That was good acting.
It was good acting from Brock
acting.
Lesnar.
When you look at Seth Rollins, be like, no.
Yeah.
And then like Brock Lesnar, you know, just like he's quiet, but like he just looks and he's just got that stare. You see it in his eyes.
Understated.
You could see him like remember the punches.
It's not over top. You don't have to do it too much, you know? You can just feel the moment, be in the moment, and that comes through on camera.
That's acting.
Beautiful acting by Broccoli Lesnar tonight. So there was a lot of this Fox NFL stuff. There was a lot of Renee's draft panel. Every time Stephanie came out to announce more drafts, you know, more draft picks, Renee with Booker T, Beth Phoenix, and Samoa Joe just talk about the draft picks a bit, and then they go to the next thing, another Tyson Fury video package, which they showed 2 of tonight on a 2-hour wrestling show. Like, there was too much Fox Sports people. I didn't need to see Joe Buck and Troy Aikman and Terry Bradshaw and all those guys on the show tonight. You know, too much of that. Too much of Renee's draft panel. Completely unnecessary. Like, was that entertaining? Do we need
Not
to see
at
that?
all.
1, too many Tyson Fury video packages. 1 is enough, but 2, it's like, come on. I don't need this. What else wasn't great? I mean, the Susan G. Komen thing with the breast cancer survivors, it was all right, but it wasn't entertaining, you know.
No.
But I like that they do that for the people there and
the sisters.
the sisters there getting the pink title belts. A lot of Stephanie McMahon coming out and announcing the draft picks that could have been done with just a graphic instead of wasting time, right?
Yeah, but you got to have Stephanie out there.
Do you?
She was out there last week, you know, in a very pretty insignificant role. She's out there. She
oh yeah, her and
started
Vince
the show.
introduced the show. So Stephanie, yeah,
She just kind of comes out to hype up the crowd now, which is better, I guess, than just her being evil Stephanie McMahon and yelling.
It's weird though. Also, like Chad Gable and King Corbin, very few matches on this show, right? There's the Seth Roman match. Corbin and Gable match, the New Day and OC, and then the Bayley Charlotte match. Like what? 4 matches? Was that 4 matches on this card?
Sounds about right.
1, 2, 3, 4 matches on a 2-hour wrestling show, and one of them was King Corbin against the newly named Shorty Gable. So they're not only doing short jokes, that's now his name. He's not Chad Gable anymore. He's Shorty Gable.
I really don't understand that, and I think that was like we probably read that as some dirt sheet rumor a few weeks ago and thinking like, oh no, this is eventually gonna happen. Then it seemed like maybe they took a break on that, but no, it's even in the Titantron and everything. He's Shorty Gable. I mean, he's a great athlete that he could rise above it, but doesn't do him any favors in the slightest.
I don't think so. I don't think he rises above this. Shorty Gable.
Like, they never called him Shorty Bryan or Shorty Mysterio or...
Shorty doesn't become world champion, you know? You don't name a guy Shorty and then give him a big run. I mean, he lost to King Corbin. He beat him on the Hell in a Cell show, right?
Yeah, he did. He rolled him up.
And then loses to him on SmackDown here. Corbin gets the win back. Corbin beat him at King of the Ring.
Yeah, I don't really know where... I mean, they're featuring him, but, I mean, he could, you know, quickly go back and being on main event and stuff. It's hard to tell. But it's not a good move. It seems like something Vince is incredibly high on, but...
Oh, that didn't work. Hold on a second. Trying to do something here.
Oh.
Trying to show Brock Lesnar's face.
The acting.
The great acting from Brock.
The emotion. The drama.
Look at Brock's face. Like, he is really selling it. Look at that face. The mug. The fear. See that fear on Brock Lesnar? I love it.
Yeah, there's some fear there.
It's subtle. You know, it's subtle. That's great. That's a great look on Brock Lesnar. So that was SmackDown tonight. Not too good. 3 smacks.
3 smacks out of 10.
What's the smack of the night?
I
Did
guess
anything happen? Was there a
Bailey's roll up, Bailey's possum pinfall to win the championship?
Wasn't much
surprised me.
my smack of the night's got to be a bump. I liked Charlotte's moonsault off the barricade on Bailey.
That was nice.
Smack of the night, Charlotte's moonsault off the barricade on Bailey. Woo! Give me one for Charlotte. Woo! All right, that's
a good spot.
That's it. We're done.
All right. Until next time.
Thank you, Joe Buck. You suck, Joe Buck.
Yeah. We will see you tomorrow night. Ugh, it's a terrible call.
So more draft coming up Monday on Raw. I will be back with Johnny North to talk more professional wrestling with Wrestling Uncensored here on the Ringside Report Network. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. Watch Dave and Johnny live. Johnny and I did our mock draft special. I was Raw. He was SmackDown. We picked wrestlers, and I think my team was way better than Johnny's team. But you decide. Leave a comment on the video, and then we'll review what everybody thought on next week's episode of Dave and Johnny Live every Friday at about 12:30 on the YouTube channel. Ringside Report every Thursday at 8 p.m. We go live. Wrestling Uncensored airs every Saturday on the YouTube channel. You can catch that tomorrow morning. And there's a new episode of What's Phantom in Japan that is out right now that you can watch on the YouTube channel or listen to at www.ringsidereport.net. All the info for all our shows is over at ringsidereport.net. And check out my other show. Why not? Irreparable Damage at irreparabledamageshow.com.
It's good. Hot topics, good conversation.
Montreal stuff. IrreparableDamageShow.com. This week's episode was about a bonjour hi and police profiling. Go to irreparabledamageshow.com right now for a podcast where I'm not talking about professional wrestling or mixed martial arts at all. Fancy that.
You learn things.
I learn things. Joey's always teaching me something.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And we got to have a talk there.
The lessons aren't the lessons that you want to learn all the time. But, hey, what are you going to do? He's a good guy. He's a good man.
It's his opinion.
He's a good man. All right. That's the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Smackin It. And we'll be back with more Smackin It over the next few weeks. It's not going to be on every Friday, but most Fridays we'll be here for Smackin It.
Go Yankees.
Oh, tomorrow night. Big one. Go Yankees. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to our production staff.
Yes, thank you.
We love you big time.